Hey, it's the Empire, Geoboxing Empire, Backshot Boxing. Now, man, wild news, man. Former undisputed champion, 168 champion, Canelo Alvarez. He has the WBC title at 160, and he was a unified champion at 154. He tried to become undisputed at 175, beat Kovalev, right? Tried Dmitry Bivol tonight, and he got completely outboxed, man. Canelo Alvarez, when he first hopped up in weight, he was a small guy coming up, and he still carried the weight well because that was his first time being at the weight class, and his body was still used to being lower. Now, as time went on and Canelo became accustomed to the weight, that being 175, his body didn't hold the weight too well, right? A lot of times in boxing, when you make these smaller weights, you have to do a lot of conditioning to make these weight classes, right? A lot of cardio, a lot of running, road work. When Canelo Alvarez fought Dmitry Bivol, and that played a big role in this fight, Canelo gassed out quick. Within the first 4 rounds, Canelo was breathing heavy. He was fighting with his hands down. He was landing single-digit punches per round. That means he wasn't landing more than 10 punches per round. And he was getting outworked by Dmitry Bivol, the bigger guy, which is extremely rare. Usually when smaller fighters come up, they can throw better combinations, they're more active, and they offset someone's power with just throwing more punches. It was complete 180 here. Dmitry Bivol was able to throw more punches than Canelo Alvarez. Not only that, he landed more than Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez was getting outboxed most of the fight, and Bivol was just controlling him, and he was just doing whatever he wanted. Now, a lot of people thought that Canelo Alvarez was just gassed out. I think it has a combination to do with his conditioning and the fact that Dmitry Bivol is a hard hitter. When you hit hard, your legs tend to go. If let's say that Bivol was hitting Canelo, when he gets hit, he's not gonna be able to move as much, because the shots hurt so much, his legs won't respond, right? That's why we see when the guy gets dropped, he gets hurt bad, he tries to stand up, he can't stand up because his legs aren't underneath him. That's one effect of being a power puncher, which Dmitry Bivol is. So, that being said, man, Canelo Alvarez had his times in this fight where he was landing counter shots here and there, but they're too few and far between. Dmitry Bivol was really good at working out combinations. He was really good at catching and shooting Canelo Alvarez, and just being aware what Canelo Alvarez was trying to do at all times. So that being said, man, Canelo Alvarez is looking like 175 is just too big for him. He had aspirations of going up to heavyweight. Those have been completely destroyed. Him going to heavyweight, that's a pipe dream at this point of his career. And he's probably going to need to go back down to maybe 168 or 160, since there's nothing there at 168. It's obvious that Canelo Alvarez, just because you can make a heavyweight weight class, doesn't mean you're at your peak at that weight. Now, people were hyping up because I'm undisputed by at 168, but the fact of the matter is, Canelo Alvarez, this is probably the poorest he looked since he was at 154, because Canelo Alvarez used to look like this when he was really drained at the lower weight classes, but now he has too much weight on him, and he's just not really training. Looked like he just showed up and he's just been lifting weights or whatever, because he had no stamina at all in this fight whatsoever. So the sweet spot for Canelo Alvarez is probably, in my opinion, the best I ever seen him was the second Triple G fight. I thought he completely dominated Triple G in the second fight, but he was throwing so many punches that fight. He was so active. If that Canelo Alvarez showed up to the Bivol fight, it would have been a different fight. But that's not what happened. Canelo Alvarez did not show up in his fight, and he got dominated. So, that being said, man, it's looking bad for Canelo Alvarez, because that was a Lomachenko type performance where he just, he fought a bigger, stronger guy, and he didn't throw as much. When Lomachenko fought Teofimo Lopez, the reason why Lomachenko wasn't throwing so much is because Teo was catching with power shots. Same thing with Dmitry Bivol. The reason why, Canelo Alvarez wasn't throwing back and wasn't so active is because Dmitry Bivol hits harder than what you think. Sometimes, the trajectory of a punch and the speed of a punch, it may look ordinary, but you're not the one getting hit. Only Canelo knows how hard Dmitry Bivol hits, and for Canelo Alvarez to land less than 10 punches a round, that's extremely rare. I don't think it's ever been done in a high-profile fight that Canelo has ever been in, besides maybe the Floyd fight. maybe a lower fight, but this fight right here, he was completely outboxed, and Bivol did enough to get the victory, right? That being said, it was a landslide. It wasn't a close victory. It was a unanimous decision. And that being said, these pound for pound rankings are definitely going to change. The perception of Canelo Alvarez being some monster, some undefeated, Goliath type fighter, that's all gone. This Canelo I seen tonight could lose to a Jamal Charlo. This Canelo I seen tonight could lose to Demetrius Andrade. The 175 division is just not good for him at all. Maybe he's better at smaller weight. We don't know. We just don't know. So we're gonna see how this whole thing plays out with Canelo Alvarez. But Dmitry Bivol looks like the next guy up. And the fight with, I'm not sure if they're gonna have a rematch and then maybe Canelo's gonna fight Triple G next. I just don't know. But the zone paid a lot of money for Canelo Alvarez, so they're definitely gonna run it back with Canelo for sure. And then we're gonna see what happens. But a lot of people are saying they don't even want to see a rematch because it was such a mismatch. Canelo Alvarez, the weight just is not good for him, man. The smaller Canelo is a better Canelo. Canelo has been dominating these bigger fighters, but they've been afraid to exchange and trade. Dmitry Bivol wasn't afraid to exchange and trade, and he got a chin to take the punches from Canelo. Dmitry Bivol comfortably beat Canelo, and he didn't look like he tried too hard. Keep it a buck. He looked like he was in third gear. He didn't really take it to the final gear like he was at war. And now Dmitry Bivol's last fight, that was a challenging fight for him. He was that was a harder fight, I think, than a Canelo Alvarez. So that all being said, we're gonna see how this whole thing plays out with Canelo Alvarez and Bivol. But I think Bivol's fight with Joe Smith Jr. was a more competitive fight than the Canelo fight. Maybe the Umar fight was the easier one, but the Bivol versus Joe Smith Jr. fight, that was a more challenging fight for my boy Dmitry Bivol. So, man, that being said, man, there's a lot of talent at 175, and it's always been a slept-on division. It's always been an extremely competitive division. People gotta understand that, this is the division of Adonis Superman Stevenson, when he was hitting guys in the comas at 175. The power and the 175 division is a whole nother world. I don't think Canelo Alvarez has really been in. The only division he's really been in that people hit hard in is the 160 division, and he only fought one hard hitter there, and that was Triple G at 160. Right? He didn't really fight David Lemieux. He never fought Jamal Charlo at 160. But that division had some hard hitters, but 175, that's just filled with them. Like, everyone hits hard. Like I said, Joe Smith Jr. is a power puncher, Elder Alvarez, power puncher, Kovalev, power puncher, Dmitry Bivol, power puncher, Artur Beterbiev, power puncher, and I can go on and on naming all these guys who hit hard, concussive power that can end your career. So, people forget that Tony Bellew was stopped by Adonis Stevenson. Tony Bellew went to heavyweight and stopped David Haye, but he got stopped by Adonis Stevenson. So this is the level of competition, and this the level of talent there is at 175. This is not a walk in the park. There is no such thing as a tune-up at 175. All these guys are dangerous. All these guys hit hard. All these guys are animals. So yeah, man, that division is definitely one of the premier divisions in boxing. Why it's not a big division in boxing? Too many international people. They don't speak good enough English. That's the only thing I can think of. But now they got some spotlight. Can Dmitry Bivol become the next big name? Well, he's Russian. Maybe he can become a big name in Russia. Maybe he can become a big name there. But there's a lot of tension going on with Russia worldwide, so we don't know how that's gonna go. But anyway, that was a really big fight, man. Shocking result to the fight, but it was a big deal. Canelo took the L. The perception and the dynamic of boxing, the so-called face of boxing. Wow, exposed. Let me know how you guys feel about it, though. Like, comment, subscribe. It's the Empire. GeoBasket Empire. Peace. GeoBasket Empire. Peace.